You're listening to
Catholic Sprouts,
the daily podcast for Catholic kids that strives to plant seeds of faith.
Hey there, Sprouts. Today is Tuesday, February 12th, 2019. This week on the Catholic Sprouts podcast, we are talking about purity. Yesterday, we started talking about these things with Our Lady of Lourdes and Saint Bernadette. Today, we're going to dive into what exactly purity is. So now to explain this, I want you to keep an image in mind. When we were baptized, whether you were baptized as a baby or when you entered the church, you had some sort of a baptismal gown. That baptismal gown is white and perfectly clean. It is pristine. It's not like something that you ate spaghetti in and got dirty. It is perfectly clean. So keep that baptismal gown in mind. And remember that when you are baptized, God washes away original sin. Even if you are baptized as an adult, He washes away all sin up to that point. So you are pure. You are clean. You are perfect. Now I want to tell you a story. There's a book called The Picture of Dorian Gray. It was written by Oscar Wilde, who lived in Great Britain about 200 years ago. Now, this is a complicated book, but here is the essential storyline. There's a young man who's a good man, and someone paints a picture of him. But of course, it's a little bit magical. This young man we can say that he is pure and good at this point, and he is beautiful on the outside. That his interior soul is as beautiful as his exterior, and he is just really amazingly beautiful, created by God. However, he hides this portrait away in his attic, and he starts living a very bad life. He treats people badly. He treats himself badly. He really is just living a very horrible life. And yet, on the outside, his face remains beautiful and perfect. But this portrait, which he has hidden away up in his attic, begins to get uglier and uglier. It turns into a bit of a monster. And he realizes this, and he becomes even more ashamed of it and hides it away, and yet he continues to live a horrible, horrible life. Now, the story goes on, and it's a little complicated, but this is an interesting image to keep in mind, because it is a good image for what our body and soul do. Where the sins of our lives might not necessarily display themselves across our face, they do affect our soul. And that perfectly beautiful image that we had at the beginning, our beautiful baptismal gown, or the beautiful portrait of ourselves before we become corrupt, it changes. It changes. It can even change into a monster. And so the quest that we are after as Christians is to be as beautiful and pure on the inside as possible. In fact, keeping that baptismal gown pristine and clean, or that portrait up in our attic of our soul, as beautiful as possible, that should be the pursuit of our lives. Every sin, every time we choose selfishness over love, every time we choose laziness over prayer, every time we expose ourselves to a bad movie or a bad picture, those things affect our soul, and they can affect it in a permanent way. So every time that we choose corruption or we choose evil, it affects us and it leaves a mark. Now, the beautiful thing about being Christian is that we believe, yes, God sees our sins, even the little ones, but God is bigger than our sins. He is an ocean of mercy. And if we approach Him truly sorry for what we've done and determined to do better, He will forgive us. So that is the beautiful truth. But my challenge for you today, Sprouts, is to just keep in mind the image of that baptismal gown. Maybe you can find a picture of yourself getting baptized or even the gown itself. And just remember how perfectly clean and beautiful it was. And resolve in your own mind to keep it that way, to avoid evil, to avoid bad pictures and bad movies, because you know that they will leave a mark on this beautiful, pristine soul that God gave you.
That's it for Catholic Sprouts today. We'll be back tomorrow, but until then, continue to grow in your faith and truly sprout into the beautiful creation that God intended you to be. And quickly, one word about Lent. Lent is coming, and we at Catholic Sprouts have a brand new resource to offer you. This year, pray the Jesus tree with your family during Lent. It is similar to the Jesse tree, only it dives into all the events of Jesus' life, and there is a special devotion for each and every day of Lent. You can check it out and find out more about this really beautiful devotional at the website CatholicSprouts /Jesus-tree.